What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about these two Japanese maples, and the key question in spring for Japanese maples is, should I pinch or should I not? This is a Japanese maple seedling, so no grafts, not a special cultivar. One of the interesting things about Japanese maples is that even the seedlings have some interesting genetic variability. And this one has a nice leaf in spring, not just green, it has like little tinges around it, which I think is not that uncommon for Japanese maple seedlings. And it has some really nice bark. I've had it for over 20 years now, and one of the things I've been a little bit sort of frustrated with is that in the summer I'm getting a little bit of bud dieback, and it's not that the tree is unhealthy, but I think I'm just treating it incorrectly. So this is a mature maple in terms of the structure of the branching. And as such, pinching is one of the main things that I do, or that typically you're supposed to do in spring. So sometimes I forget. So today I'm going to go through and do some pinching and also do some leaf reduction. All right, well, this is what happens if I don't pinch it. Essentially, I get these branches with long internodes, and then the branch behind it starts to get coarse. In other words, I can't maintain the very fine twigging. So I'm going to go through here, and I have pinched a few of these already, but I haven't been staying completely on top of it. So if I were an apprentice, I would probably be getting yelled at. But in any case, I'm going to go through and pinch a few of these and then come back and also thin out some leaves. So here's a perfect example of a shoot that is coming out. So there's 2 leaves here, 2 leaves here, and 2 leaves right here. So the second and third nodes are not what we need. I need to scissors this back, and then I'm also going to take off this lower leaf to thin things out. Now, if I had pinched it, I would be doing something a little bit different. So here's an example of a branch tip that I could pinch, and you can see the leaves have barely started to unfurl, and out from the middle of those is coming a shoot which has additional leaves that are starting to unfurl. So my fingers are too fat to get in between these leaves, so I'm going to use this pair of tweezers and get in there and kind of push aside the 2 leaves and pinch off that little bud and the node. Oh, and an aphid. In any case, that is going to keep the node that is sort of hidden in this little bud sheath that's still on here as short as possible, so that we can build very short nodes in our composition. And I've been relatively successful with getting short nodes on here, but this sort of twig dieback is the kind of thing that I'm getting a little bit frustrated with on this tree. So I'm going to go through and finish pinching and removing shoots. All right, with some of the shoots removed, I've probably missed a few of them. I'm going to go through now and remove in the outer kind of half of the tree. I'm going to go through and remove every other leaf from the pears that are on the outside, and that's to allow more light to the interior. Not all the buds are opening evenly on this tree, so I'm going to have to repeat some parts of this process in another week or two. Well, that's about half of the leaves that were on this tree removed. Some of the key points here are that I am only removing the half of the leaves that are on the outside, and I'm leaving more leaves on the interior because we're trying to balance the natural tendency of the tree to just send out long shoots and instead get it to actually nurture all of the tiny little branches that I've spent 20 years creating. Now, you don't always want to pinch Japanese maples, and so I have this other example sitting here to make the point that when you are growing young material and you don't have a full set of branches, if you're pinching, you're very likely just slowing things down because every time you pinch, you stop a branch from growing. And so if you need a branch, then pinching might not be the right technique for you to be using on your Japanese maples. Now, Japanese maples are kind of a funny case because the pinching controls the growth in terms of not allowing things to become large and coarse, which is what we want in a relatively mature tree, but not what we want when we're growing out young trees. But it also controls the node length. So distributed growth is another way of controlling node length. Essentially, you can create short nodes by allowing some growth to run while keeping control of other growth. So that would be the strategy that I would use with this. At the moment, this was taken as an air layer last summer. So I'm actually not going to do anything to it because I want this to grow so that it creates a strong root system before I start working with it. Whenever you're working on trees and doing cutback, try to think about the stage of development that you're in and how the work that you're doing is going to impact you achieving the goals that you have. If you are working with an older refined tree, then your goal is to maintain refinement, and the techniques of removing leaves and pinching tips is exactly what you need to do. But if you're working with trees in early or middle development, you might need to just let things run. Doesn't apply to just maples either. That's it for this video. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.